Eat shit. Eat shit. You eat
That was
shit.
my line.
Definitely eat shit. Hey, it's me, it's PLD.
And I'm Richard-Erik, Jarvi.
And I'm Matty Gunner, and this is Class Action.
The shittiest movie show on the interwebs.
Shittiest, wow.
But I thought it was the classiest show on the interwebs.
We're eating shit, though. We're all eating shit.
We're eating shit today.
You're eating shit. You're eating shit.
I think my Benoit Blanc impression just ate shit as well.
Could be.
Wait, did you do one?
I just did one. Yeah.
Oh, that was your...
Yeah, that was my Benoit Blanc.
Then it definitely ate shit because I didn't even realize you were doing it. So
I didn't even realize.
Or it was so good. It was so good that you guys have been watching so much of Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc over the last few days that you were like, "Oh my god, it sounds just like him." We couldn't even notice the difference.
He was like it was like being in the same room as him. Either way, I'm live for the second time today. I did it earlier on today. PG and I were supposed to record our 2 meter weight dudes on film. We're supposed to get into Lethal Weapon 2. Of course, the big DC announcement happened, and we decided to say, fuck it, we're going to go live. So I've been live for a lot of this afternoon. So I'm a little tired.
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans? I am developing an OnlyFans. Let's see what happens there. I'm not sure what I'm going to have, but I'm taking offers from people. People want to put forth anything they can do. I'll do whatever needs to be done. I just need to make money. It's a tough economy.
You know, you can use OnlyFans for other content other than sexual content, right?
What? That is crazy talk.
That is a thing. A bunch of UFC fighters use it for posting like their training videos and etc. etc. This is not me owning up that I have subscriptions to OnlyFans accounts,
but why? But why?
I don't know.
And I get to see in the chat there, Max, Hannah, Haskell, of course. Christo wants to see some feet in the OnlyFans. I can do that. I definitely have some Hobbit feet. That's definitely a niche audience. But
I got some pretty nice feet, so we can do that.
We can go on an adventure together, like the Fellowship. Hairy feet.
Fellowship of the Hairy Feet. There we go. All right. Today's episode, we are taking on Knives Out versus Glass Onion. Ryan Johnson versus Ryan Johnson. Benoit Blanc versus Benoit Blanc. I want to say this was an exciting week for me to do this. I feel like I love this idea. We put movies up against each other. We did a non-movie last week. We broke our format for a bit, went back to something a little different. We're back to movie versus movie. These are two movies that definitely scream to be put up against each other. And yet, when you look deeper, I would say on the surface, these are two movies that are set up to be against each other. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing how different they really are, and especially being part of the same franchise, right? And of course, we have a third one coming that's supposed to be even totally more different. So this is going to be an exciting time. What do you guys think about this when we started this process?
I think it's perfect. I think this is a perfect matchup. But I think the differences that those two movies have is what makes it such a good matchup. Because I think movies that are way too similar, like doing Die Hard versus another Die Hard movie, I feel like you'd get a little tiring, or a bit like, because you're comparing things that are too similar. They're not comparable that way. These ones are, I think, way more comparable and way more fun in that way.
That's a good point. You know, that Sean Room brings up a good point also. Benoit Blanc's OnlyFans.
That's what got me. Shout out to Sean. You got me that, but he cracked me. I was listening intently to what you guys were saying, and then I just glanced over at Sean's comment, and it just cracked me.
Either way, Knives Out and Glass Onion are two wonderful pieces of work and such great stalwarts of cinema today, because they almost remind me a little bit, hear me out, a little bit of Ocean's 11 in terms of you get a large cast of characters, famous cast of characters together. You can cover any walk of life, really. And it just seems like they're having a good time making them. And it seems like these series are going to keep going that way, which is going to lead into our game today. We have separate casts, except for, of course, Daniel Craig leading up the cast. And we have these different set of celebrities in both through movie stars and TV stars. And we're going to get a third one, which is going to be a completely different cast. I love the idea that means because we have at least consistency on one hand, but anybody could appear in these movies and you're excited about it. So it's a wide open palette that these films have. It's made such a different mark on the cinema world than a lot of other movies have recently. You understand what I'm saying on that?
Yeah, I think the fact that these movies are completely different stories that can stand on their own, is brilliant. I think you can watch Glass Onion without seeing Knives Out, vice versa, and I'm pretty sure you can tune into the third one when it comes out. And I think that is the key to the longevity of this. I don't want to call it a franchise. I would hate to call it a franchise.
It's a series.
I think only Daniel Craig and Rian Johnson kind of make it a franchise. But this, I don't know, to me, feels like old school filmmaking when franchises weren't a thing, like back to the Hercule Poirot days. Like this, I think this is the key to its longevity, is to keep it fresh, new every time.
I get that. Kelly in the chat, of course, yes, I've been on your screen twice in less than 3 hours. I think you actually like it, but you won't admit it. But that's okay. I'll let you not admit it. I'll let you be silent in your love of me. But all righty, we do have 5 custom-made categories that we're going to delve into in the Knives Out versus Glass Onion debate. We're going to determine which one is the better Rian Johnson, Benoit Blanc saga, story, mystery, as you will. Before we get to that, we're going to play a game. This is where we used to play. What would Ed Harris play? This is where we had turned into a wheel of recasting, but we're going to do something a little bit different this time because we talked about Knives Out 3 coming out. And so we sat down and he had said, you know what? We know that Daniel Craig's going to be in it. We know that Rian Johnson's directing it. But who else is going to be in it? Who's going to be in Knives Out 3? Who do we want to see in Knives Out 3? So we each decided to put forth an actor and an actress to fill the supporting cast, as you will, of Knives Out 3. We have 6 of us there. That'll be 6 cast members. But I'm going to pull an audible and say we're going to have a 7th cast member. We're going to have the podcast cast member. Of course, I'm going to be talking about one person, Ed Harris. Ed Harris is going to be in Knives Out 3 because of PLD projects. I'm going to take that off my list. It's not my choice. It's the podcast choice as the patron saint of PLD projects.
Do you know who he could be? He could actually play a pre-existing character from Pain and Gain. He could be the detective from Pain and Gain.
Yo,
a crossover there at Pain and Gain.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea. Interesting.
That's it. Jarvi's got that.
I like that.
Nope. I'm good.
I like that quite a bit. All right.
I love Pain and Gain. So Jarvi, that's the one.
All right, Richard. Why don't you give us your first pick as cast member for Knives Out 3?
So I have to say them together because my picks go together. They go together because if I say one of them, you definitely know what the other one's going to be because I went the jokey way. So I have 2 picks. Okay. One of them I feel like is a cop-out because it's not really a male and a female character, but the way I'm casting them would make sense. So first off, I would have Jeremy Renner with Jared Leto. Jeremy Renner is going to be there with his hot sauce from Glass Onion, and Jared Leto will actually be a trans Jared Leto like he was in Dallas Buyers Club. So he's filling the female role, and he's pushing his kombuchas. And they both get killed. And that's the mystery.
Jarvi, the only worst thing you could have done was put Steven Seagal in that role.
No. He gets killed. Jared Leto gets killed. You get to watch Jared Leto die on screen.
Okay,
that's a great choice. Okay. I like what you're doing with that. I'm going to put Steven Seagal in this movie. I'm kidding, Matty. I'm kidding.
But you understand my references, though, right?
I do. It makes it good. I like that idea quite a bit, actually. Matty, why don't we go with yours? And who you got?
I mean, I fucking hate Jared God, I'm glad. Side note: the scene in spoiler if you haven't seen American Psycho, the scene where Jared Leto.
I haven't, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Should I mute?
Mute for a second. Mute for a second.
Just wave when I'm back. Wave when I'm back.
Okay. The scene where Jared Leto takes an axe to the head is the single most satisfying thing I've ever seen on screen in my whole entire fucking life. Anyway,
that's fair. You can get back. Okay.
Anyway, back to my casting. I guess I can actually put mine in together as well. My first one, my actress, is kind of a cop out. I am bringing back Ana de Armas.
Oh, a returning cast member.
I'm bringing her back with Taika Waititi.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I like where that's going.
Okay.
Oh, he fits in.
Hear me out. In Knives Out, there's the moment where one of the sons, I can't remember which one, is talking about selling the rights to the book to be turned into movies.
Movies and TV, yeah.
Movies and TV. Taika is going to play the director that has been assigned to make the TV and like the expanded universe of this. Taika's going to play the director because I think Jarvi's clicked where I'm going.
Yeah, I know where you're going. This. Vodka?
Give me 2 hours of the Belvedere vodka advert.
Yes.
Where Daniel Craig is just like Daniel Craig's just like dancing, and that is the best on-screen experience of Daniel Craig ever, is the Belvedere vodka advert. Mm-hmm. And even if you watch the behind the scenes, like him and Taika are just having the time of their lives making this advert. And like I think Benoit Blanc dancing around like Daniel Craig in that Belvedere vodka advert.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
this is perfection.
Oh my, that's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Have you seen the advert, POD?
I did. I have seen that advert. It's pretty hilarious. All right, I like that. I will add my
top that POD.
I can't top that. Well, the thing is also I didn't actually create characters per se, so I'll have to wing that a little bit because I just want to throw people in there and let Rian Johnson figure it out. 2 people I want to see directed by Rian Johnson, though. Female side of things, it's someone I have a crush on, Ana de Armas, like Matty does. I do. But there's another woman that I have a crush on who I love to see in a lot of films. I think she could use a great director like Rian Johnson to bring something out of her. I want to bring Mackenzie Davison.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
I loved her in Terminator. I loved her. I just watched the Martian yesterday. Love that pitch as well. She's been in a lot of different roles, a lot of different sci-fi roles. Giving her a grounded role like this, or not grounded necessarily, but a more like a role in a fantastic, which lets her like kind of spread her wings and be a little fantastical. Mm-hmm. I think would do well for her. That's so. I'm about Kenzie Davis in that role. The male role, I did think about a little bit as a possibility. I'm gonna introduce Benoit Blanc's, I was going to say his mentor in detecting, so to speak. And the person I'm going to cast, who I think would be absolutely perfect for a Rian Johnson film, is Christopher Walken.
Benoit!
I taught him everything that he knows.
I thought you were going with David Suchet from the original Poirot. I thought that's who you're going to bring in as his mentor.
That would have been interesting too. But I guess I want to see Christopher Walken in this universe. I feel like Rian Johnson and him could have a ton of fun together. And you already mentioned the vodka ad. Christopher Walken would fit in very well in that atmosphere as well. So him and Daniel Craig dancing together, I got a movie right there sold. So that's what we're going to go. So we got Jared Leto, Christopher Walken, Ana de Armas, Mackenzie Davis,
Taika Waititi.
Wow, this is quite a cast for Rian Johnson to assemble, and Ed Harris, of course. So,
I just thought of another connected universe. Why not have Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler pop in there somehow? And you have Murder Mystery meets whatever the new Murder Mystery is called. I don't know.
Oh my god!
Because they're both Netflix. Oh my god, dude, this is writing itself.
Let's throw in Jude Law and Robert Downey Jr. while we're at it.
I mean, just good.
Well, then you might as well throw Benedict Cumberbatch in as well at that point, and Martin Freeman. So we'll get them all together. And then Kenneth Branagh to round it off as Hercule Poirot. All right, there we go. We have our new mystery series in play. We can't say anything further because we're actually going to write this and pitch it to Ryan Johnson. We don't want to spoil anything else. Let's move on to the meat of the show, as it were. We're going to be going on trial, putting up Knives Out versus Glass Onion. Again, 5 categories. I'll label them now as we get going. We got category number 1, the better Blanc. Which version of Benoit Blanc is better?
The Blanc.
2, the better supporting cast. I like that as well. 3, the better mystery, which is a more fun mystery, which is more deeply ingrained, which works better for you. 4, better villain, who was the better bad guy. And of course, that means we are going to spoil the mystery here. So if you haven't seen these films, you probably should stop watching, go see them, and then come back. And 5, the better conclusion. Which conclusion is a more satisfying one? And again, this is very interesting because of the fact that they are such different takes. I mean, I'm not going to get into too much because it's kind of category 3 partially. But Knives Out is a far more, it's almost weird to say serious, but it is more serious than Glass Onion is, even though Knives Out is pretty ridiculous. But there's still more of a serious vibe to Knives Out. That's kind of taken to a different way in Glass Onion. I'm very interested to see which one you guys like better. Do you have a prediction? Do you have when you first got this place, do you have that gut feeling that one of them would prevail? You do, Matty. Okay. Matty seems pretty strong on it. So let's
I think Glass Onion.
You think Glass Onion? Okay, interesting. Jarvi, what about yourself?
Knives Out.
You think Knives Out? Wow.
Yeah.
It's up to me to break the tie as far as the predictions go. My gut instinct says Knives Out. But I could be wrong.
We don't know because we never know each of our others' picks. So this is just conjecture at this point.
And while Jarvi has notes for days, I tend to wing it. I tend to look at it and go with my gut. So I can change things at a drop of a hat.
I'm like a little bit in between. Like I have my thoughts, and then like when I have them, my initial thoughts written down, and then like I just expand and go and let my mind wander. But Jarvi's a true professional.
You guys know I need my notes because every once in a while, like my English only takes me so far. So there are moments where I completely go blank or Blanc and just got nothing to say. And yeah, so I need those notes.
Fair. Reefism in the chat saying, hey guys, I'm just make a chat cameo because he hasn't seen these films yet. Reefism, definitely go take a look. You'll definitely enjoy yourself and then come back and watch the episode afterwards. But that comes a good point. I didn't mention this earlier. This is your first time here. You click that like, click subscribe, get more of this, get more of Class Action, get more of Two Mediocre White Dudes on Film, get more Holy Snokes, get more Crown Jewels. We are trying to make a modest goal of 500 subscribers on YouTube. We are getting there slowly but surely. We are getting there. And we really appreciate you for doing so.
We're whores now.
We are. I definitely whore myself out. Absolutely.
Yeah, when won't we?
That's true. We've always been whores. All right, let's get into the first one. We're going to go with Better Blanc. I'll start off this category if you don't mind. I do think Benoit Blanc is a very interesting character. When I saw Glass Onion, I was really surprised at the Benoit Blanc we got. Benoit Blanc in Knives Out was definitely this mysterious, deep-thinking Sherlock Holmes meets Hercule Poirot kind of character. But he was very kind of straight-laced, he felt like. He felt like he wasn't very colorful, if you will. Whereas Glass Onion, we get a much more deeper look at his character. He becomes, he has his husband, Hugh Grant, in there all of a sudden. And he's much more of a flamboyant, like a little bit of a flamboyant dresser. He's much more worldly, and yet he still seems more, in another way, he seems more human. He has these great conversations where he mentions he's not Batman. He's not a vigilante. He can only do so much. He has a great smile. Which was a great conversation to have, because if you just look at him in Knives Out, you almost felt he was that like superhuman Sherlockian character in a way, that he was going to solve everything because he was Batman. He could figure everything out. And he took care of things physically as well a little bit more in Knives Out. But I feel like Daniel Craig had a blast expanding on his character in Glass Onion, so to speak. And it's kind of funny because Knives Out, we were mentioning Knives Out being a little more serious in tone. And as far as the mystery goes, the mystery is a little more funny in Glass Onion. And the ending, as we'll get to, makes Daniel Craig almost, Benoit Blanc almost mad at the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that aspect of it. I love the fact he's like, no, this isn't smart. This is an idiot. And there was something special about that aspect of it that made me love the Glass Onion Benoit Blanc even better than Knives Out. I think the Knives Out is a little more, I don't want to say generic, but I've seen the character like that before. The added color that we had from Glass Onion wins it for me. So I'm going to go Glass Onion.
Blanc. You said Blanc. His name is
Blanc.
Blanc.
Blanc. Blankety blank. Richard, what about you? We'll go for you.
Yeah, this is the one where I go back and forth for exactly both those reasons. The first one, he's more of a traditional, mysterious type of detective, has that Hercule Poirot vibe about him. He isn't like derivative, I don't want to say, but you can definitely see the influences where his character comes from. He's this sharp traditional dresser, kind of has his goofball moments, but Glass Onion Blanc is just freaking full of steroids from start to finish. Like he kind of does tone it down at the very end. Like throughout, he starts off in a bathtub, smoking a cigar, playing Among Us. I don't know if you guys have played Among Us. That is like the essential game for murder mystery buffer or something like that. I play that with my friends quite a lot, and it's friggin' fun. Like seeing Benoit Blanc do that. I mean, that gave him this movie. Like Glass Onion gave him way more pop culture references than the first one. He was definitely more modern in that one, and we find out more of his like personal life. His Achilles heel, which are dumb things, dumb mysteries, which almost get the better of him. No, it's just dumb at the end. So as much as I'd like to say that he's more mysterious and more interesting in Knives Out, I have to go with Glass Onion as well, because Daniel Craig just is freaking enjoying himself. And it's such a blast to see, and to see it after James Bond. Just there are James Bond vibes to him. Like some aspect, he's still a gentleman, but he can just, let it loose.
He lets it rip more in Glass Onion, absolutely.
Oh my God, this is something I don't want to see. Him letting it rip.
Matt, what do you think?
I'm unanimous with you two, I think. And this doesn't come from my, not disdain for Bond, but my inherent blairness for Bond. But I truly feel like that this is the role Daniel Craig was meant for, because he is having the absolute time of his life doing it, and you can tell that he is. I mean, going back to the Belvedere vodka advert, I don't think that we would have got that advert if it hadn't been for Glass Onion, because now Daniel Craig has like just embodied his silliness. He is a funny guy. You watch interviews with him, he is a silly, funny guy, and now he's just like, oh, finally I can let that side of me out. And in Glass Onion, you're right, he's a lot more colorful. We see a lot more of his personality, but the seeds were laid in Knives Out when she was like, you're not a very good detective, are you? And he's like, well, you're not a very good murderer, are you? So we're meant for each other.
I like that. All righty. Then we will move on to category number 2. We got better supporting cast. Now this is very tough. This is definitively the toughest one that we did, I think, as far as I'm concerned, because both have their strengths, but I don't need them really have a weakness per se. Just to label it out there, Glass Onion, we have Edward, spoiler alert, so I won't use Edward Norton. We got Janelle Monáe, got Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Jessica Henwick, of course. And then on the other side, you got Anna de Armas, you got Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, who's phenomenal in this role. You got Don Johnson, Toni Collette, who's spectacular as well, Keith Stanfield, Catherine Langford, even Frank Oz as a lawyer. I don't know what it is about it. I love both of them, so it's going to break my heart to choose one over the other, to be honest with you, because it's so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say, even though I'm going to pick one, I love both. My gut told me, and I got to stick with my gut, I got to go with Knives Out. And I think the reason why I'm going with Knives Out is because of the dynamic as a family added such to the story. And Michael Shannon particularly, I loved who he was. I loved like the moments he had with every single character. He had, and Toni Collette was also as good, if not better, than any of the Catherine Hahn or even Kate Hudson in that role. It just, there's something about it that was just so wacky and so on the nose in this that I don't even know. It's hard to say. Then you got Anna de Armas, who I am just as much in love with as Matty is. I feel like there's just a smidge more for me in Knives Out than in Glass Onion. But you know what? I could change my mind by the end of this conversation because I do love Batista in Glass Onion is fucking awesome. I love Batista in this movie so much. And I do love the rest of them as well. They all have their great moments, but at the end of the day, I gotta pick one. I gotta go Knives Out.
What is reality?
Jarvi, what about you?
You forgot one of the most important characters in Glass Onion. Daryl. Just ignore him here. This is just a guy with a box of Coronas on a beach, just roaming around from scene to scene, just annoying the crap out of everyone. He's not really annoying the crap out of everyone, but he's just a very funny character.
He's just there.
Yeah, he's just there, which was a really nice touch. You said it yourself. There's no bad performance in this. Every character is like intricately written and performed. From Knives Out, I'd say the standout is, like you said, Toni Collette. I feel like Glass Onion has the other side of that coin is Kate Hudson. They are sort of the same type of characters doing the same kind of thing. But Knives Out is more grounded when you think of the group performances and the group characters in there.
Right.
They are mostly one family, and there's sort of a logic about them. This like family dynamic. When you look at Glass Onion, again, everyone is on freaking steroids. Everyone is far into their respective limits, and there is less logic about them. And they're completely stereotypical in every way possible. It works. It works for that type of movie. And they definitely offered more laughs than Knives Out. But Knives Out has more nuance to these performances, which I gotta give it to Knives Out. I gotta go the same way as you did.
All right. Matty, are you going to make it a 3-way tie both ways through, or are you going to...
I am not.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm going with Glass Onion, and I'm going to just echo what you two said. Everyone in both of these movies...
I just want to say real quick.
My Alexa went off for a second there.
That's all right. I just got to say before you continue, I want this noted down in the record somewhere. So not court stenographer mark this down. Matty Gunner voted against Anna de Armas. Just want to use that for the record for later on. So go ahead, Matty. Continue.
I did vote against my lovely, beloved, adoring wife. Here's why. I really like the more depth that we got with fewer characters in Glass Onion. I felt in Knives Out there were a few characters that kind of got left out a bit or like pushed off to the side. Like, what's the kid's name? See, this is exactly my fucking point.
The character name or the actor name?
Walter, the boy.
The boy, Jaden Martell's Jacob Tremblay.
Yeah, Jacob. That's it, not Walter.
Jaden Martell.
Walter. Like, I feel like there was more that they could have done with him a little bit.
More than the masturbating Nazi?
Yeah, the masturbating Nazi. But looking, and I'm so glad you brought him up, DOD. Dave Bautista is the fucking man in these movies. And I say this because he reminds me of so many people I know and so many people that I am friends with come from the MMA, like that sphere.
Right.
He reminds me, and like I'm not going to name names because I know a couple of them watch this show. But
Wow.
there were times I was watching it that I was like, oh fucking hell, he reminds me of this person. And he reminds me, oh god, that's something that this person would do, and it like made me think, what kind of fucking morons am I friends with?
Wow. I'm sorry. The commentary by Matty does not necessarily reflect the views of class action as a whole. I love our audience. Just want to put that out there. Matty, continue.
Not you guys, but there are a couple of friends of mine I know that watch this show that like Dave Bautista and this just like really reminded me of them. And I was just like, man, the level of depth that they go into each different character, I found that more entertaining than the overall cast of Knives Out.
Okay, fair enough. I can't complain.
Janelle Monáe, though, in Glass Onion, we gotta give credit to her. I feel like she had definitely the second most fun with her character, other than Daniel Craig. Her the way she switched those characters, those accents that she did, her final speech, like that at the very end where he does it, like we'll probably get to when we talk conclusion, but her performance in that final moment, it was beautiful.
Yeah, no, she was top notch. I'm not gonna. She was definitely one of the best parts about the whole show. I was actually gonna bring that up during the next segment, but we'll talk about that next. Mystery, better mystery. I started the last two. This is the first time I've done that in a while. So why don't we go on, Matty? Let's start with you. Better mystery.
I'm gonna give this to Knives Out.
Okay.
Because I feel like the mystery in Glass Onion, kind of like the layers of an onion, it kind of unraveled as we went along, and we were like slow walked through it. Whereas Knives Out, it was like a sleight of hand where it's like, we're going to show you this over here, but just out of view, like you can see it, but it's just out of view. The real mystery and what's really going on is right here, but you just can't see it because we're keeping you so focused on this bit that you're not looking at this bit. So when this bit hits, and we'll get to conclusion, that's when I was like, whoa, okay. So I feel like I preferred the mystery that I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on, to the one where like I was slowly starting to like in my own brain unravel what was going on.
Interesting you say that. I actually would argue, honestly, it's the other way around to a degree. Taking out, I would say that Glass Onion to me was a more predictable villain per se. As we get to the villain part of it, I almost knew from the beginning that Edward Norton was the bad guy. I kind of figured that out right away. I did. I didn't figure out his level of not being a genius, his stupidity level. I didn't get that part of it. But the whole twin swapping thing and how he came into being completely threw me. When she died and all of a sudden she was back alive, and then we got the backstory of everything, and then all they kind of jumped ship. I thought that was the greater redirect as far as mystery goes. It was like, because I was totally seeing this one, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, I know who the bad guy is in my head. It's kind of straightforward. And I was like, oh, I totally didn't see this aspect of it. Whereas Knives Out, it was a solid mystery. I didn't think that was nearly as predictable. I thought they did a great job of showcasing the different motivations and different reasons why it could be, even as they said, Anna Darmus was involved in the death right away. They kind of gave you that right away. You kind of know right away she was involved somehow, but that's not the end of the story, because otherwise the movie would be very short. So I like that. I know it's kind of ironic. I'm saying it's kind of, they peel back the layers like a Glass Onion in Knives Out as they started to add.
Well, I mean, I said it, so
right. But at the end of the day, I think the mystery had more of a surprise aspect to it. I guess like what I'm saying is it's a slow burn mystery in Knives Out, which led me along the path. Glass Onion kind of like showed me one thing and then went a totally different direction. But we have a difference of opinion of how it worked. But I still join you in that I like the Knives Out version better. If that makes sense. I did like the Knives Out version better because as much as it was a kind of a cool twist, I felt it was too sensational a twist comparatively. I prefer going along with the mystery and figuring out the pieces as we go along more. So I'm going to go with Knives Out.
The reason why I started chuckling a bit is I remembered something from Glass Onion. Do you guys remember what the name of the island was?
No, I don't remember off the top of my head.
No?
No.
Maddie?
No.
You gonna get it? It's piece of shit.
That's
It's piece of shit.
That's right. I did figure out that.
Damn it. Yep.
I mean, Ryan Johnson just went fucking bananas with.
He
with
loves
Glass Onion.
poking fun at stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he loves just like, whether it be this or The Last Jedi, like he loves just like poking fun at the genres that he likes to play around in.
Oh yeah.
He even references Baby Driver in Knives Out. He goes like, "Punch it, Baby Driver," or something when they're in the car. Chris Evans says to Ana de Armas.
I love it.
But yeah, if we're comparing mysteries, I think this is Knives Out has the traditional classy, stylish mystery. Glass Onion has this heightened version of a extravaganza type of mystery. And Knives Out, the reveal actually happens very early on. I think it's like halfway through the movie, or even a bit before that, we find out that Ana de Armas, that there is no killer. Because even though Ana de Armas at that point would have killed him, he still slit his own throat. Yeah. So there is pretty much no killer at all, which was a very nice touch. But you still, I couldn't, for either of these movies, I couldn't figure out how this was going to go. And I think Glass Onion has this, like, sure, Edward Norton seems like your obvious villain, but that's what's so unobvious about it, because the obvious villain is not going to be the actual villain. So with that one, I think Glass Onion kind of took the suspicion off of Edward Norton. And also Glass Onion had this very meta way about it to bring a murder mystery into an actual murder mystery. So there was a lot more elements, a lot more of a playground there. But again, I am going with Knives Out because I think the mystery, I'm going to include the tone and the atmosphere of the movie with the mystery category in this one. I like the classic take on it. And I like the fact that even though it seemed like a classic tale, it still surprised me to ends that I was not expecting at all.
All right, that's absolutely fair. All right. Yes.
Yeah, as you could tell, I couldn't differentiate conclusion from the mystery.
That's right. Ryan Johnson's subverted expectations.
I know, crazy, right?
Ryan Johnson. All right, then let's get into that better villain part of the mystery here.
No, I didn't. Damn it.
I'll go ahead. Well, no, I guess Jarvi, you can start this one. I just started too.
I'll go fast. This is the easiest category for me. This is itch it, definitely itch it. I think Chris Evans was perfectly slimy, douchey, which we weren't used to seeing at that point. He was coming off of Captain America at that point. I hadn't seen him as a villain. The Netflix movie, what was it called again, where he played the villain? That wasn't out.
The Gray Man?
The Gray Man, yeah. And he can play an awesome villain. I hope he gets more of these kind of weasel roles or just villain roles. The only performance that can be picked apart, in my opinion, and we couldn't talk about it in the supporting cast because we weren't including Edward Norton in that one, is Edward Norton's performance. I love him as an actor. I think he's one of the great character actors, and he's a great lead as well. But there was something lacking from his performance. There were moments where, like, I don't know, some genuinity, if that's a word, was sort of lacking from his performance. Maybe it's the fact that he was the most obvious casting choice, because you could tell, like, he can play an obviously great villain, and he was obviously the villain in this movie. So maybe everything seemed a little too perfect. I don't know. I wanted something more surprising out of it, and I got exactly what I would have expected Edward Norton to do. So yeah, there was maybe some flair and some flamboyancy missing from him, but I think that's because of the supporting cast, because they were all so, flamboyant all over the place. So they kind of took away from the obvious billionaire type who should have been that role. So yeah, I don't know. It was Chris Evans is more memorable, more iconic, and his sweater. The fact that he wore that freaking sweater, that's a meme on its own. Yeah, it's an iconic performance. I'll even say that.
Wow. Okay. You Ransom Drysdale, iconic character. Okay, Matty, what about you?
I almost went with Chris Evans as Ransom because to me in Knives Out he was a very, very turned up version of his character from another teen movie. Just that snot-nosed, weaselly little shit. But there is something, and I don't know if this is more of a credit to Rian Johnson than it is to Edward Norton. There's a moment where clear as day you see a portrait of Edward Norton from Fight Club sitting behind the bar. There is nothing more egotistical about a billionaire who thinks he's hot shit, and this is so on the nose to this time. It's fucking brilliant by Rian Johnson, of a tech billionaire who thinks he's God's gift, who thinks he's the smartest person at the room at all times, to the point he designed this murder mystery, which he thought that even the world's greatest detective couldn't solve, who got it like that, and then he's left there like, oh, and that's the thing is like, his character in Glass Onion is such a 180 from what Tyler Durden is all about and what Tyler Durden stands for. But then he has the picture of him from Fight Club on the wall. It's just so brazen and so, I don't want to use the word meta, but it's just so like, God damn, it's so in your face that I'm like, that's brilliant. That is written so damn well that I'm not wearing a hat, but if I was, I'd take it off to Rian Johnson for that. And Edward Norton just plays him so damn well.
That's a good arguments to have. I gotta say, this was a tough one for me as well. In my notes, I will say right off the top about, I wrote down Knives Out. I wrote it down in Chris Evans. I do love Chris Evans for exactly the reasons that Jarvi, you've already brought up. Especially the most iconic line from all of them is the eat shit moment. That's the most iconic line of both movies, I think, at this point. Eat shit, eat shit. I love seeing him as a shit weasel. I love seeing him throughout. Everything about his role was good. But everything about each villain fits the movie they're in. If that makes sense. And then I looked at, I keep looking more at Edward Norton and Glass Onion. And there's something to be said with how much it dupes the audience in a way. As predictable as the mystery is, it's the character duping, which is what's brilliant about it to me. We all buy into this guy is a genius. We buy in the whole time. He's set up these great traps. He's got these great tricks. Every once in a while, like, you'd see something that puts him in a worse light. And you're kind of like, oh, maybe he's not as good as we thought. And then it kind of made me question the role. But then the reveal at the end that he's a fucking idiot, everything all of a sudden made sense completely. And I'm like, it was a brilliant piece of performance because it tricks you into thinking exactly what he is. And he's really like the beginning, because then I go back, you watch it again the second time. Think about the beginning where Leslie Odom's character keeps talking about, I get these ideas all the time. He starts saying ideas. You're like, that's a genius idea. And no, it's not. It's stupid. But everybody's convinced he's a genius. And we're convinced he's a genius because the film told us he's a genius. And yet you want to scream out, no, it's an idiotic reason. Just like at the end where we are Daniel Craig going, what an idiot. He's an idiot. So it's perfect for this kind of movie, for this kind of mystery, because the whole time through, even though Daniel Craig is too smart for this, he's too good for this. Benoit Blanc is too good for this fucking idiot. And yet Edward Norton plays that role so spot on, perfect, that he convinces you, he convinces us. And I will throw out there, this is the time to throw it out there, what a perfectly timed release this was, to basically have Elon Musk being played by Edward Norton at the same time as Elon Musk buys Twitter and shows him out there, shows him falling flat in his face. Wow. I got to give it to Glass Onion at the end of the day. I changed my vote. I love Chris Evans. This is Glass Onion for me.
And I'm also going to raise the bar there, POD. He's also very well timed with the whole Kanye West thing. In the main defense of Kanye has always been, oh, he's a genius, man. You don't understand his vision. He knows better than all of us. He's got this wide vision that you guys just don't see. And then it's just like, no, that guy's a fucking idiot and he's a piece of shit.
What a great movie for our time.
Did you guys notice the Magnolia reference in Glass Onion?
Oh fuck yeah! I didn't even forget about that.
Edward Norton at the in the flashback, he has the hair and the vest and everything. He's like fully Tom Cruise.
That's so good. That's so true. I totally forgot about that as well. That's right. That's great.
Fight Club, great. Magnolia, dude, it's all there.
Baby Driver. Oh, that was my thought, actually.
Okay, we are on the final category here. The better conclusion. Which one is more satisfying? Jarvi, we'll start with you.
Me again? Sure, yeah. I'll go. I know I'm going against you guys because I kind of gave it away. I love the conclusion of Glass Onion and the fact that the twist was not a twist at all, which made it a twist for me. So Glass Onion, now that we're at the final category, I feel like Glass Onion had an untraditional mystery setup, but had the most blandest, dumbest, and in that sense, a traditional expected ending, which made it unexpected. I know that sounds super weird, but it kind of turned itself on its head and then turned it on its head again. So yeah, it gave us a very ambitious story, and at the end, everything that Daniel Craig does, the way he unravels everything, that it's such a dumb mystery. It's not a mystery at all, but the conclusion actually leaves with the villain winning, because none of the shit, not the shit weasels, what are they called, the disruptors, but the shitheads. Yes. None of the shitheads want to actually help out Janelle Monáe. They're still on his side, even though he's burnt the napkin. They Janelle's got no evidence whatsoever, and then the great scene happens where Janelle gives the speech, and he turns to Benoit Blanc and he just goes, "I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. I gave you the truth. This is all I can do." That was such a genuine, I don't know, dark and emotional moment in a very ridiculous movie overall, which I loved, and the ending is something I remember way more than in Knives Out, which I love the Knives Out ending, but I had to double check the Knives Out ending. I didn't quite remember it. So with that, got to go with Glass Onion.
All right, Glass Onion it is. Matty, how about you?
I'm going to give this to the Knives Out.
Oh, okay.
I get it. Not just because of my beloved, my darling, my angel, and her incredible performance, but that son of a bitch Chris Evans got me. Like that man could sell porn to a blind man. Like when he was sitting in the diner, like just like, look, I'm gonna help you. Like we're gonna get you out of this. Just give me my cut of the inheritance. That's all I want. I was like, cool. He's gonna get what he wanted. Okay, fine. He's gonna help her out. I believe that son of a bitch. So when it did the flip and it turned around that he was the one that set it up all along, I was in there like, oh, you motherfucker. Because then the emotional weight of it hit me that throughout this whole movie, she's been sitting there I killed him, this man that I cared for so long, this man who helped me and my family and gave me everything. And I killed him by mistake. And now he's laying there with his throat cut open to protect me, to protect my mother, to protect my sister. And because this motherfucker was getting cut out of the will, you set me up. I was just like, fuck, dude. Over the ending with Glass Onion is fucking spectacular, and how the social commentary and everything on it. But just the emotional weight of her realizing and then the setup at the end to expose him, I was like, well done, because hey, Chris Evans had me fooled.
Can't argue that. I can't argue that at all.
Look at that face, man.
Interesting.
Like,
interesting.
can you blame me?
Very interesting. This is very interesting. I'll tell you why in a
Because
minute.
Knives Out's ending, you actually find out that she didn't mix up the meds,
Right.
and she wasn't going to kill Harlan.
Right.
So actually, Harlan just killed himself.
Yeah, that's true.
That is a great ironic twist on its own.
That's very true. Lego, good to see Lego in the chat here. I'm home early with a French toast latte, ready to hear about glass onion superiority. Well, you're here in time to figure out the ending. It is my last bit here. I will say this. Okay, the ending of the film, the conclusion of the film, I really enjoyed Knives Out the second time through quite a bit. What I loved about the Knives Out conclusion is that every time you think you had it, every time you think you had it figured out, every time you thought they were going to conclude it, they would just also add a little twist. It's like, no, not just that, not just that, not just that. And you have everything going on until finally Chris Evans reveals himself and admits to attempting to kill Fran. I think it's Fran. I think it is, but yeah.
Yeah, Fran.
And he goes for the knife when he takes the wrong knife.
Yeah.
So I loved how that worked out because even though I had no idea what was going on, I almost believed Chris because, I mean, that's perfect stunt casting, really, because Chris Evans is so heroic, like Jarvi says. You're seeing him as Captain America still. That kind of like just rubs off on you a little bit. You're kind of like,
it's America's ass.
It's American's ass. He's not going to do anything. But they reveal it nice, and I think that's probably why he took the role, quite honestly. With that being said, I can't not love the ending of Glass Onion because of how unique and how different it is. The whole time we've been saying Knives Out is a much more traditional classic mystery. Glass Onion takes all of that and throws it out the window. The very fact that this was I go back to it several times now. He's an idiot. And this is not a mystery that Benoit Blanc is worth solving. The guy is such a moron. I love the fact that comes down to that Benoit Blanc was too smart for his own good and figuring out too many things that just didn't matter. When at the end of the day, it all simply came down to Edward Norton's character being a dumbass. And that is brilliant today. That's a brilliant twisting of the knife, so to speak. No pun intended with Knives Out there. But I also love the fact that he gets so mad about it. He gets so mad about the whole time. Like Benoit Blanc gets so mad about it. He does have that dark moment at the end too that makes it just serious enough where you keep going. You don't sell out completely as far as the humor side of things. At any time, if it went like just a little bit further, it would have been almost too much into the comedy realm and not entertaining. It would have been just too much of a cartoon to be real. Real's the wrong word because it's all very cartoonish. But over the top, it would have been too over the top. This was a perfect blend of comedy, serious smarts, characterization. I feel like the ending is unique and happy in Glass Onion. I'm going with Glass Onion as my final vote.
I just realized actually both movies have an idiot villain because Harlan says it. He's an idiot. He won't know a prop knife from a real knife, and he tries with the prop knife at the end. So it kind of gives him the idiot side as well. But what Matty said is actually very true as well. He duped us, and he duped Donna with his good guy act. And in the end, so he kind of was an idiot, but he knew how to, twist the knife.
I do wonder if it's like, because I'll bring it up again briefly. What I said is like the whole Elon Musk and Kanye thing, how it's so current. How Chris Evans, it's almost like Rian Johnson is a master of using the audience against themselves. And for both movies in a while. But Glass Onion was just more of a bigger swing at doing that. And it connected.
Do you know what I just realized?
What?
Chris Evans is the Last Jedi haters. Because they are solely like they're going after all of this because they didn't get what they wanted.
I'll save that for Holy Snokes there, Gunner.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's a little light bulb because you saying that, like a little light bulb in my head was like, was there a little bit of Rian Johnson being like,
could be because he definitely wouldn't do it so blatantly. So I like where your head's at that. He's definitely more versatile that way. I like that idea. I like that concept. All righty, that means we're done. We are done with the episode as far as that goes. We have a winner. We have a winner. And the reason why I said it was very interesting.
Give it to me.
The winner of this match, the winner of this court battle by a score of 8-7. Glass Onion.
Yes.
Damn, I wanted Knives Out to win. No.
Glass Onion, and that's why I said it, because I kind of screwed up. It's like it's 7-7 as I go to the final thing, and I was like, it's me deciding Knives Out or Glass Onion.
Decider.
I was the deciding vote at that point, and I had predicted Knives Out to win. I predicted it to win.
Me too.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I guess Glass Onion's big swing, more flamboyant Benoit Blanc, is the one that it's a big swing versus a classic tale.
You know, I gotta say something. Me and Christo, we watched Glass Onion together. I think it was when it came out, and we had whiskey. We were getting drunk. We chatted, and
Nice.
most of the movie actually kind of just flew by us. We weren't paying much attention because we were getting drunk while watching it. I just watched it today before the show again, and I realized what a great movie it was and how much I missed the first time around. So, Christo, definitely watch it sober again, and everyone else, because also if the reason why I think some people didn't like the movie is because they weren't following along. There is so much genius in that movie.
It was indeed. It was indeed. I love the chat. Okay, it looks like another close one, says Kelly W. That's right. It's 2 weeks in a row, 8-7. Lego, and the crowd goes wild. All right, I get that. Like Chris is saying, that's crazy. And it comes down to murking Elon, says Galactus, and I can't argue there. It's all about the murking of Elon. All righty. Well, that's where we end up this week. I'm excited. That was a lot of fun. I wish I could tell you what we're doing next week, but we haven't decided yet. We haven't had this problem in a while because we had like the last 6 weeks laid out. I'm going to do it again. But until we do that, I will take this shout out, patreon.com/PLD projects. Please, if you want to come and join us, we have a great chat going there. With great extra content as well. I want to shout out a few people specifically: Allison Salamoni, Brandon Buckingham, Jeff Alterman, and John Lestrina. Guys really help keep the lights on. I really appreciate you. And again, like I said before, first time, hit that subscribe. Give me some subscribers. We're getting there. I want to get that 500 subscribers, and then on to 1,000, and then we'll take over the freaking world. That's my goal. We'll see. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But Matty, where can the folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Matty Gunner, Instagram Matty_Gunner. You can find my band Mourner, that's MOURNER, on all streaming platforms. You can find me here every Tuesday for Class Action with these two lovely gentlemen. You can find me every Wednesday for Holy Snokes, the Star Wars podcast with Mr. PLD. And starting next Thursday and Sunday, the ONU MMA show is back on the Wild Jones Podcast Network, talking about everything in the world combat sports. Do not miss, if you're a fight fan, do not miss next Thursday, because there is a lot of shit that I have to get off my chest. It's going to be a very fun episode. I don't rant very often, but if you want to see pissed off Matty, tune in next Thursday.
And don't forget to mark your OnlyFans account there, Matty, as well.
I got to ask you, Matty, are you going to talk about the Logan Paul contract?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm
I need to hear your thoughts on that.
All right, Jarvi, where can the folks find you?
On Facebook and Instagram at Richard-Erik with a K, Jarvi, and Letterboxd.
There you go. All right. Find me at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter. You can also find me here on PLD Project all the time. We have 4 weekly shows right now. Again, Matty mentioned we have Class Action every Tuesday here live. Every Wednesday, we have Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast. We're breaking down the Bad Batch. Tomorrow, Bad Batch episode is broken down again. And then I will say now, the next week, we are going to have a bonus episode of Holy Snokes. We have 2 episodes of Holy Snokes next week. One special one with a special guest appearance. I'm not going to quite announce it yet until we figure it out, but we have a guest coming on board to do a little different. Our first non-Bad Batch episode. It might be 2. It might be 2.
Wait, so the one that was last week, that's already the big guest. Ken Knapsack.
Ken Knapsack guested us. Ken Knapsack guested last week. We have another guests coming on board. It's going to be our first non-Bad Batch episode, because we're going to have a Bad Batch episode, and we're going to have a special bonus episode next week. I can't wait for you guys to see that.
I can't wait for this.
It should be entertaining.
Oh my God, it's going to be so damn funny.
Should be entertaining. Yeah, it's a good Good guess. Let's put it that way. And then, of course, I do Crown Jewels, Journey Through Queen. I did last week Stone Cold Crazy with our special guest, Mike Deacon. This week, it's Dear Friends, a short and sweet piano ballad, which means a short and sweet episode. Only 7 minutes long, I believe, this week, because it's that quick. But that's it for now. I have 2 other podcasts in the work. They're going to be irregular podcasts because I can only do 4 a week, and then beyond that, it's kind of makes it tough. I didn't even mention 2 Mediocre White Dudes on Film. I didn't mention that one. 2 Mediocre White Dudes on Film.
You don't need to mention that. Fuck the other. Yeah, no. Yeah, we're justice has been served. Bye.
PJ Campbell and I going through things. We did do our episode on DC today. We kind of broke the mold. We were supposed to record about Lethal Weapon 2. We'll push that off probably 1 more week now because we did our content with the James Gunn slate that was released. You can find that already live on the channel.
Oh, that got announced today?
It got announced today, yes. Where you hide.
I was in the stream.
Under a rock, huh? I know. But next week we will do Lethal Weapon 2 finally. It's been a long time coming. We stuck on Lethal Weapon for quite a bit, but that's okay. I'm excited to talk about it more with PJ. And yeah, like I said, 2 more podcasts coming, but that's neither here nor there. This week we are done. Justice has been served. Court is adjourned.